The negotiation begins the minute you walk in the door, Frank.
Jerry, I'm going to Toyota Carlsbad for my new Toyota. I don't have to worry.
Brother, walk in with that attitude, you're dead meat.
Yeah, I don't think that's
First thing when you walk in, walk out.
Jerry,
you come back the next day, just walk right in, walk right out. Look, come back a week later, look them right in the eye and say,
I'd like to buy a car.
No, walk out.
Jerry, does this explain why you don't own a car?
You made me forget, was I in or out?
You're out.
Walk into big savings today on new Toyotas at Toyota Carlsbad.
Toyota Carlsbad.
Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Good morning and welcome into Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego Sports Leader, the mighty 1090, and thank you for making us part of your Sunday morning routine, and a super Sunday at that. I don't think we can say the full title of the, quote, big game, otherwise we'll probably have to pay some sort of royalty fee, but we appreciate you checking out the show as you run around doing the honeydew list as you get ready for the big game, and a big shout out to all of those listening on the new Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app. It has all the show podcasts, plus interviews cut out if you just want to get to a specific interview, and tons of behind-the-scenes content that maybe might not have a chance to make it on just our 1-hour program here on Sunday. So you definitely want to download that Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app. But this last week, very busy week for us. We are out at Toyota Carlsbad on Wednesday. Our good buddy Dale Weston invited us to Toyota Carlsbad. So easy to get to, so easy to find, off the 5 freeway in Cannon Road, and online at toyotacarlsbad.com. But we had a nice little kickoff event going up there, and we had Jeff Konicke from Yamaha, the regional marketing manager, bring some cool Yamaha bikes to set up on display. We also had Ned Suesse, Dakar rider, stop by and sat down and did a little interview with us. And we also gave away some Supercross tickets. And so if you missed that, shame on you, but don't worry, there's tons of pictures up online at Bike Week Radio Show's Facebook page, and you can sort of see the highlights from the event, because we had a great time up there. And Dale ordered some pizza for us, and we were telling stories and having some laughs. And so let's just set the scene here. Let's just tell you what everything Toyota Carlsbad's about. Here's our interview with Dale Weston from Toyota Carlsbad.
So how long have you been here for, Dale?
The day after the Chargers lost the Super Bowl in 1995.
Oh, we got to bring that up.
Oh, I remember that.
I'll never forget that day.
Oh, Bobby just pushed
It's
stuff.
the longest day of my life. So 95.
The day after.
Of all days, yeah. It was a tough day to come to work.
Etched in his memory.
That is for sure.
You asked.
Yes, yeah.
Very good, very good. So, motorsports and Toyota Carlsbad.
Well, Toyota Carlsbad, like I said, we've been around since 1972. We did a lot of stuff with Iron Man Stewart back in the old days. He'd come to the dealership quite a bit, and he would draw, a lot of folks out.
Hey, it's
here.
the Iron Man. Of course he's drawing.
And he'd literally do push-ups. The last time he was here was like in 2000. He'd sit there and do push-ups because people would challenge how many push-ups he could do, and he would do them. Nice guy. So Toyota, with the Baja stuff.
Bobby does push-ups.
Well, he does 12-ounce curls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's a different exercise.
My New Year's resolution is push away. So I push away from the table because I'm trying to get down there. But, Toyota Carlsbad, we like to get involved with the community. What's really interesting is it wasn't at the motocross version of Carlsbad Raceway, but it was the dirt street track where the guys with the one knee on the ground. What is that called?
Dirt track.
Flat track.
Flat track speedway, yeah.
Well, Toyota, San Diego County Toyota dealers sponsored that series, and Toyota Carlsbad was a big part of that for bringing the trucks out. Well, that is where Toyota Carlsbad's owner met his future wife. She was working for the San Diego
Carlsbad?
Toyota. Yes, at that.
Oh my!
At the dirt track.
Oh my God!
At the dirt track, and
they're still married.
Well, he passed away, but they
Okay.
were. Yeah, that's how it all started. The romance started at a motocross event.
Wow! I wonder how many other romances started there.
An iconic.
Brock, how many romances started for you at Carlsbad?
No comment.
No comment. Well, we just saw a guy with a 1984 photo of you guys. Yeah,
that was
that's
pretty
not
cool.
your child, right?
No, it's not actually.
It's funny. He came up to me thinking, well, it's been about 400 years. It's got to be that guy. He says, hey, Brock, that's you and me. And I go, no, that's Brock over there. He goes, oh, my God, he hasn't aged at all.
Yeah, I feel like of age. So the involvement in motorsports has been around and kind of renewing a little bit of a focus on it?
Yeah, we took a hiatus. We launched the Tundra in 2007, Toyota as a brand, and Toyota Carlsbad was very aggressive with action sports, surfing, anything that Supercross at that time.
Yeah, they were selling, speaking of surfing, not to interrupt, but I do, their service center is like hanging over the Pacific Ocean.
Right.
It's how many acres over there does you have,
15
Dale?
acres.
15 acres.
And we have two collision centers, certified Toyota and Lexus, of course, and then aftermarket.
So one of the only dealerships, when you take your car in to get serviced, you go down and catch some waves for a while, come back up.
Dale's got surf wax for you.
Yeah, we got Toyota Carlsbad surf wax. It's made by Famous Wax. You can get some of that, and we've got a custom Scion that looks like a Woody with surfboards. But you'll see a lot of the
Woody,
pros.
that's a car, Bobby.
Yeah,
Woody is a car.
Yeah.
Okay,
you'll see a lot of pros that'll take their car to get service, and then they're walking to the beach.
In one of 80 service bays.
Yeah, wow. It's a huge place. It's a great place to, I think, do a bike demo. We could do some fun stuff over there.
Yeah,
very cool. Very cool. Well, we can help you set that up, I think.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Very good. So these new Yamahas we have, thanks to our friends at Yamaha and North County Yamaha, Mr. Jim Herkman and Jeff Konicke from Yamaha. I see some trucks, I see some bikes. What's an ideal combo here? Somebody says, I've got a new Yamaha. I need to put it in the back of something. What would you recommend?
You could go with a Tacoma or a Tundra, because the Tundra, we saw you guys pull in with two bikes. It fits real easy. The Tacoma is a real popular truck. You guys probably see it at every race.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like the historical Toyota truck, launched from the old trucks. But, yeah, we've got super deals on all trucks, two-wheel drives, four-wheel drives, and we've got some customized, some trucks that are lifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And what about for your significant other and things like that, because you're going to be driving around your dirt bike and you're going to be burning up some fuel, and you need something maybe a little bit more economical. What do you guys got? Obviously, the famous Prius.
Yes, we've got several Prius family members, and we have other hybrids. There's the Camry hybrid, we have the Highlander hybrid, and the Avalon hybrid, if you really want to get fuel conscious. But other cars get great gas mileage, like the Corolla gets a little over 40 miles to the gallon. The gas-burning Camry does as well. The Yaris is up there, I want to say in the high 40s, 47, and that's a gas burner. But with gas falling, it's a great time to get a V8 or, a V6 truck.
I'll say. Gas was what, like 44 cents a gallon this morning?
I wish.
I'm liking that.
When I was a kid, we used to walk with gas, a can of gas, to go to the gas station to fill up our mini bike, and it would be like 50 cents to get that 2 gallons. It was like great.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my first motorcycle, back when I was still in elementary school, I used to ride over here in the Miramar area,
but
University
you
City.
could ride where Toyota Carlsbad was when you were a kid.
Exactly. You could. And the guy got so sick of coming out there to get my 13 cents or my 11 cents, he said, "Kid, let me show you something. You come over here, go to this pump, watch. Never turn the pump on. He just drained the hoses, so I never paid for gas again.
Yeah.
I would just go to each pump and drain the hoses into my Honda 50.
We did that a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, now that's not how it works.
Nah, unfortunately.
It drains your bank account instead of draining the hose.
It's a direct connection.
Yeah, well, Toyota definitely has a fantastic line of fuel efficient, and also just they're known for the quality. I mean, I've driven many Toyota vehicles in my lifetime, and it's I've always been impressed with the quality of them.
It's a good product to sell. We've got a lot of our customers are some of our customers. It's their grandkids that are buying them from us, and their grandfather was probably our age, 30 years ago. So now it's kind of nice to see the family evolve with the Toyota. So we have a lot of Toyota fans.
And it's nice for a motorcycle-centric program like ours that Toyota has had such a long legacy supporting
That's what I was going to say.
Motorcyclists.
There's a brand that's been involved in motorsports, and particularly Supercross and motocross for, 40 years plus. Yeah. There's Toyota, because even when I rode for factory Yamaha, we had a program with Toyota. A lot of the factory teams had deals with Toyota that they would do, either loan us a truck or give us a very good price on them to run around. And I hauled my practice bike around the back of a Toyota many times and loved the vehicles.
You never needed to worry about breaking down like in those other models.
No, they were good.
They'll remain nameless.
Nameless, yes.
So it's always good to support a company that supports what you like to do, and we all like to ride motorcycles.
yeah.
And particularly
we've got
ride
about
motocross and supercross.
40 of our staff members from sales and service that are real active enthusiasts with both on-street and off-road with bikes.
Wow.
And special dune buggies and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of off-road enthusiasts at Toyota Carlsbad.
Yeah, I've seen that. You know, it's my second visit over here, spending time with you specifically. And it's nice. And, you know, we're all in the same neighborhood, too. We're all kind of North County guys, and this is a great dealership. And nice to run into a guy like you who grew up just across the fence from Carlsbad. And there's Gavin Tripp. You know, I pulled in a few guys tonight, said, hey, you know, like the guy that had the photo of you, Broc, you know, when the kid was 15 years old, and he goes, yeah, I climbed the fence and got into the pits. I said, he didn't know he was standing next to the promoter of the USGP. I said, hey, Gavin, here, this is the guy. Yeah, we finally got him. He owes you $10.
We've been chasing this guy to get your $10
with interest.
I'm sure Dale never participated in any of those antics.
But we rode through the tomato fields, our bikes, to get to watch you guys race, and he's telling me that they used to till the soil for the guys to get the free hay, so that you guys could have the hay bales, and we were the ones that didn't pay. We were sneaking over the fence.
Oh, man.
So
Barry Grismer here anywhere?
I had to confess to Papa Supercross.
Yes. He's getting over it.
Yes. He still wants that money, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, great. It's very nice to know that Toyota Carlsbad has such an enthusiastic group of employees that are, you know, participating in motorsports and motorcycles particularly. So that's,
and we thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having us.
We look forward to our relationship in 2015.
Absolutely.
Thank
you, Dale.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Our thanks again to Dale Weston from Toyota Carlsbad. Up next on the headphone was Jeff Konicke, Yamaha Regional Marketing Manager, and he brought a couple really cool bikes to have on display for us. Very generous of him and Yamaha to have those down there. So Broc and Scott sat down with Jeff Konicke to talk about some Yamahas.
Really happy that our friend Jeff Konicke from Yamaha. Jeff, what's your official title with Yamaha?
My official title is Regional Marketing Manager for the Western region.
That works.
It doesn't fit quite on a business card, so we're trying to figure that part out. But
acronyms.
Yeah.
Just like the government and the military.
World
all
of acronyms we live in.
Yeah.
So you brought a couple of nice bikes down, a beautiful YZ 250 that's been dominating the Supercross.
Brand new.
Yeah, the brand new forward-backwards bike, and a couple of pretty 450s here, the white and red version of it and the blue one.
It's a great color combination.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's growing on a lot of people remarkably, and that was one of my choices. I personally got a blue 450 and the white 250F, and I just love that thing. I mean, everybody that sees it thinks that it's some type of a limited edition or anything of sorts, and I mean, the retail's been really, really awesome on that thing. Dealers
I would think so.
Are crazy about it. It pops on the showroom floor, and it really looks good.
And remember they had remember back when he brought out the yellow and black one? That was funny.
Well, tell us about that. You were mentioning that earlier.
There's been some talks about potentially bringing that back. So on a fairly limited, or I'm not sure. It seems like it might be on the way, but who knows?
Yeah, it's been since 1984 was the last time Yamaha really raced yellow and black bikes full time here in the U.S.
Right.
But 85.
One of the hosts here raced.
I heard. I was going to say somebody might know.
One of us
about
between Broc and I, we raced yellow and black.
Yeah, one of us. Yeah, actually, tonight a guy brought a picture from the last year. Actually, at Anaheim, it was one of the last. It was 84 bike.
Yeah,
so that was it. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Do you still have any of those bikes, Broc?
Possibly.
Yeah. Squirreled away somewhere.
And then I know I do have an 85 a red and white 490 that's around. That was the first year of the red and white bikes too, so that was kind of nice. And obviously 85 was a good year for me in 490s. So, but that 450, I got my eye on that thing. I hadn't had a lot of interest in riding bikes that much, and I took a trip over to Italy, and all of a sudden got an opportunity to ride the new 2015 model in a race actually, and it renewed my interest in riding.
And who was in that race with you?
there were lots of people in that race. About 70 of them, I think. A bunch of old guys, but Chuck's son was
Chuck's
one
son,
of them.
Jeff Stanton.
Yeah, there was a bunch of guys over there. It was really fun. So bottom line was I was very impressed with the new Yamaha 450. So I have to say that they did a great job on the bike.
Yeah.
I rode it for the first time this past weekend out at Paula, and I don't know that my arms have reached back to their normal length. I mean, the power on that bike is just insane. It's been a long time coming for us. I think that this year's our year for some positive magazine tests on that 450, and a lot of positivity surrounding Supercross and Cooper Webb and what he's done in the 250. So some remarkable results that we've posted there, and it's an exciting time.
Yeah, Cooper Webb, boy, there's an exciting guy.
The one thing I noticed, I go to every Supercross race, and the one thing that I noticed particularly last week at Oakland, there was a corner that had a lot of sand in it, and it led right onto the first corner, and it was real flat, and a lot of guys had a lot of problems really just getting around, getting the bike turned to get the power on without sliding, it just was a difficult corner, and I liked it because it really brought out the best in the skills of the rider. It was one of those corners that you couldn't just bang a berm and turn. And I would have to say the fastest guy I saw go through that corner was Cooper Webb. And I was thinking to myself at the time, I was watching, that Yamaha really turns. Because they've always had, the 450, the original 450 when they came out with this revolutionary design, they got a little bit of a reputation of having a vague front end and not steering as well as some people would like. I know they've worked really hard at Yamaha to improve on that, and I can tell you that I didn't really notice the vagueness in the 450, but then again, I'm not that current. But when I saw Cooper Webb, Cooper Webb go through that corner at Oakland, I'm like, I can tell you right now, there's no vagueness in the way that thing's tracking around that corner.
Or in his riding style.
No, it was just – but the corner was not one of those ones you could just grab a big handful. You had to be precise.
He had some skill going through there.
Yeah, and he was turning inside of a lot of guys and being able to apply power, and then he was taking the shorter line, getting on the gas just as early, and he was coming out ahead on the other end of the corner. So I was impressed. I think Yamaha's done a great job.
Yeah, and Jeff, you and I were talking about earlier that I was just over in Europe recently, and I had – thanks to Bob Starr, our friend and sometimes frequent guest on Bike Week Radio Show, I got to go to the Yamaha. I guess it would be at least the European, if not the world intro for some of the bikes. Street product, dirt product, but man, on the street, that new R1 and the M1, and I'm like, wow. And of course, Yamaha being Yamaha, they don't just have the regional guy or somebody off the street. Valentino Rossi rides that thing out there onto the stage.
Yeah, VR6,
spectacular.
He 46, he rode that thing out on the stage from the videos that I saw, and it's all of us. If I would say that all of us are drooling at Yamaha to throw a leg over that thing, it'd be an understatement. I mean, the developments in the R1M is just revolutionary. The amount of developments that they put into that thing with the telemetry and the Olin suspension. I mean, it's as close as you can possibly get to the M1.
Yeah.
And you got the right guy that developed the machine. I mean, he and Josh Hayes have had some time on that.
Josh was there too. He was up on the stage with them, as was Jorge Lorenzo, or Lorenzo, as they often say.
You bring up Josh Hayes, you bring up some street bikes that are phenomenal. So, what's Yamaha's plan for the road racing in the U.S. this year?
So road racing is it's interesting because I think obviously Graves Motorsports there. Josh is going to be back out running the super bikes, and Jake Gagne just signed on to do the Super Stock, I believe it's called.
Is that what it is, Brockster? Super Stock?
Paul Carruthers, our other co-host, would have been
if
here.
Paul Carruthers was here,
we'd be able to
there's an empty chair between us here, Brock.
That's right.
It's cold.
Yeah. And then Cameron Beaubier being back again, he'll be on the big bike.
That's going to be exciting.
It's really cool because the superbike stuff, they're introducing the super stock class essentially, which is going to be run what you brung type of mentality.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
It'll really be a telltale as how race ready that thing is right out of the box. It's
run what you brung, as in run a fairly stock motorcycle. Yeah, and that's what it is. It helps keep some of the costs down. It helps guys to be able to actually purchase a motorcycle and go road racing and not have to spend, $100,000 on motor development. And that's what we need. We need more participants. We need to keep the costs down. And, I would like to see the same, personally, go that direction in motocross a little bit more. I think we've technologied ourselves to the level now that most people aren't even able to ride the limits of the motorcycles, and it'd be certainly nice to figure out a way to have families be affordable to
Jeff,
go
were you at
racing.
the limits at Pala?
You know,
were you like 9 tenths?
I was at the wrong
10
side
tenths?
of the limits. You know, I mean, it was my personal limits that were.
But you're a very capable rider. I mean, I've been at tracks with you, and you're good. So I mean, that's quite a statement to say about that motorcycle. If your eyeballs were saucer sized,
you know, a couple times, and again, to your point, is that it's a. That 450 is just, but it wasn't scary to the point where it's just. I mean, the thing was completely the straight line tracking, and it seemed, and then like the magazine said,
you're talking to somebody here. I guess I got 2 hole shots on the thing. I hadn't started in a race and since the Yamaha Race of Champions back in 2001
I was there.
or 2. I hadn't.
Is that the one where Rex Staten had you in his crosshairs?
Literally had not dropped a game. I mean, the bike is very rideable. There's no question about it. But it's just me. What I was referring more to. I'd just like to see classes, and Yamaha's been great with leaving 2-strokes in their lineups. I mean, being able to keep a 125 or a 250 2-stroke in there, it'd be nice for the average guy that wants to still participate in motocross to not have to step over that threshold with the bikes and the maintenance
Agreed.
and the technology that's available.
Yeah, 100%. And to your point is that we have received some nice developments for 2015, some nice suspension changes. It's one thing that we're not focusing 100% on, but definitely not turning our heads on as well. It's great entrance into racing is that we're instead of families having to choose either to race or not because they can't
race or actually have a roof over your head or to be able to eat
and race.
And race. Yeah, I agree.
You know, and so there's a ton of local motocross tracks that are starting to pay attention to, making 125 only classes or 252 stroke classes and
Broc's been a pretty staunch advocate of that.
No, I want to see this sport not turn into some rich kid sport. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a rich kid, but I'm just telling you got to open it for everybody. And I just really would like to see the sport stay affordable enough for average people to have their kids. It's such a unbelievably great sport. I mean, it's been my life, and I would have never been able to race motocross. It would have been as expensive in my era as it is today. And I love the fact that Yamaha is leaving the 2-stroke 125 and leaving that 250 in there. And I personally have friends. We go to the desert with them, we go riding with them. Their kids are buying 2-stroke 125 or 250 2-strokes because it's the same thing. They don't strive to become the next Ken Roxon or whoever, Cooper Webb. They don't strive to be that, and they want to just go out and be able to have fun and make it an affordable family activity.
Sure.
And that's what, thanks to you, Jeff, and your fellow
to
Yamaha.
Yamaha,
colleagues worldwide. I mean, it's exciting what that brand is doing. I mean, I started my first real, purchased in a dealership motorcycle was a Yamaha 175, and I've had a soft spot in my heart for Yamaha.
No,
it's cool to see what they've come to nowadays, and it's nice that you were able to spend some time with us and keep us up to
props
speed.
Out to companies that see the big picture.
Yeah,
I agree, and you guys are KTM. I mean, Yamaha. They see it. They got to have, you got to have a choice there. You got to have people.
And we at the regional level try to, and again, regional marketing is kind of my capacity, but I've got a love for 2-strokes as well. So anytime that at a motocross track comes to me and says, "Hey, what do you think about the industry class?" was a great deal. I think it was I don't know if it was limited to. There was no big bore
125s. Yeah.
But
no 150s, no 142s.
If you ever got a chance to see what that industry cup or class, whatever they were calling it, that they used to run at Glen Helen, I mean, the best battle.
And everybody's grinning ear to ear, going, "Wow, this is so much fun."
Good racing's good racing, and it doesn't. I mean, to me, I think one of the telltale signs. I was at the Houston Supercross a couple years ago with a friend of mine that's been around racing. Literally, I raced with the guy in the 1970s, and when I was a kid racing the first nationals I ever raced. He has followed motocross ever since. He kind of, doesn't ride as much as he used to, and we were sitting watching practice at the Houston Supercross, and he looked over at me, goes, we were watching one of the B practices. It wasn't all the named stars in the A practice, and we were sitting up high enough you really couldn't read their 2- and 3-digit numbers. And he looked over at me and he says, I'm sorry to ask you a stupid question. Are we watching the 250s or the 450s? And I go, it's not a stupid question. Wait till the practice sessions are over, and I show you the lap times, and you're going to see that in many times at the time Tomac was still riding 250s. I said sometimes Tomac puts the faster lap time than the 450 guys.
Right.
So if you can't visually see the difference between a 250F and a 450 rider on the track, so we're in the entertainment business. We're selling seats to spectators and people watch. If you can't tell the difference between a 250F and a 450 going around the Supercross tracks, then what's the
point?
What's the point of the classes? I guess there's a point where, to me, I'd love to still see a 125 class or a 150 class at a Supercross, and then and just have a, maybe it's a 450, maybe it's a 400, maybe it's a 350. I don't know, but I don't know that we're not just duplicating our product in what we're putting out there on the in front of people, and it's just certainly, like I said, the sport has gotten very expensive.
Yeah, agreed.
Jeff, again, thanks for joining us and for supporting us here, and thanks also to Jim Herkman out at North County Yamaha for providing some nice motorcycles. And Jeff, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it.
And thanks for coming tonight and bringing these great bikes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Our thanks again to Jeff Konicke, Yamaha Regional Marketing Manager. And again, can't say it enough, what a great time we had up there at Toyota Carlsbad, 5 Freeway and Cannon Road, and online at toyotacarlsbad.com. And we still have another interview coming up next. Ned Suesse, Dakar rider, here for just 48 hours in Southern California. Luckily, we were able to line up schedules and throw him on headset down at Toyota Carlsbad and talk about some of his past adventures and look forward to what he has up next in the queue. But coming up right now, here again is one of our helpful riding hints from our good friends at Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades, and here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
If you are unfortunate enough to be in a motorcycle crash, save your damaged gear. You may be able to recover for its value, and it may be evidence of how the accident happened and help document the injuries.
This helpful hint was brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
The negotiation begins the minute you walk in the door, Frank.
Jerry, I'm going to Toyota Carlsbad for my new Toyota. I don't have to worry.
Brother, walk in with that attitude, you're dead meat.
Yeah, I don't think that's
First
the
thing when you walk in,
What?
walk out.
Jerry,
you come back the next day, just walk right in, walk right out. Look, come back a week later, look them right in the eye and say,
I'd like to buy a car.
No, walk out.
Jerry, does this explain why you don't own a car?
You made me forget. Was I in or out?
You're out.
Walk into big savings today on new Toyotas at Toyota Carlsbad.
Toyota Carlsbad.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown, 1-800-4BIKERS, and online at russbrown.com.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090. And this past week, Bike Week Radio Show was on the road. We are at Toyota Carlsbad, just off the 5 Freeway and Cannon Road. You can't miss it. And online at ToyotaCarlsbad.com. Toyota Carlsbad. And we had a great time hanging up there. And we were eating pizza and shaking hands, kissing babies, kicking tires. You make sure you get that order right. You make sure you're shaking hands and not kicking babies or kissing tires. I mean, you just got to make sure you get that order right. But we were up there hanging out, having a great time, and we talked to Jeff Konicke from Yamaha already, and you already heard that interview with Dale Weston. But up next, we had Ned Suesse take the headset, and Ned's an adventure rider and an all-around just kick-ass, badass dude. And he shared some stories about racing Dakar as well as what he's got on the docket moving forward. And so, very cool interview. Here it is, Ned Suesse.
Ned's here. I guess, Ned, you are you're in California for like 2 hours.
It's actually 2 nights.
2 nights. Wow. Yeah. And you are stopping by here on your way to the tip of Baja.
That's correct. Yeah.
And why are you going down there?
Well, I rode down in November, December on my KTM 950. And
just for fun?
Just for fun.
Non-competitive?
Non-competitive. Just
because you're, I should tell our listeners, your competitive background, in case they didn't know, you are an experienced rallyist. Give us a snapshot of that.
Yeah, so I guess I started racing enduros back in the day when they were timekeeping, and I really enjoyed
when they used to timekeep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed the kind of intellectual side of that, and so as enduros have turned into more and more just a, pin it to win it kind of an affair. I got introduced and intrigued by navigation rallies. So in a navigation rally, you have to follow. There's no marked course. You have to follow a paper scroll full of directions. So
a road book.
At mile 1, turn left. At mile 2, turn right. That kind of thing. And so as I started doing that, I found it just so enjoyable. It is totally involving. When you're racing a road book, you have to both focus on riding, of course, because if you don't, it hurts.
Yes.
But you also have to focus on the road book because if you don't, you're lost.
Which also hurts.
Yeah. And so as I started to follow that more, my first rally was one in Morocco in North Africa.
Yep.
I did
was that Alice Rally by chance?
No, it was a race called the Amitié, the Friendship Rally. It's a French event.
That's French.
Yeah. You need a croissant.
À tout à l'heure.
And so that race is founded by the same people that started the Dakar way back in the day.
Yes.
And there was kind of a division as
like
they
TSO.
The TSO.
Terry Sabine organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
Huh? How's that, Bobby?
Very good.
We're talking trivia here.
Yeah. And so I went and did that race with some Portuguese friends and just fell in love, had such a good time. And so
and what'd you ride?
I borrowed a KTM 640. And the one that I borrowed was from a Portuguese friend. It had, I think, 100,000 kilometers on it.
So it's fresh.
It was amazingly bad. And I had such a good time. So I did that. I fell in love with it. And so in 2012, I raced the Dakar Rally, which had been a lifelong dream.
Right.
And I finished it that year as the only American to finish. So that was pretty cool.
Cheering you on.
I appreciate it. And then in 2013, I raced an event called the Tuareg Rally in Tunisia.
Yes.
That was Dakar for me was a finishing effort. You know, it's such a big race and it's so expensive and it's such a big deal that I felt like I really want to get to the end of this thing more than I want to, have beat anyone. If I'm dead last, I'm happy.
You finished.
It went well. And so when I went to the Tuareg, I sort of turned that around a little bit and said, okay, I want to compete. I actually want to see what I can do. And it went better than expected. I wound up second overall at the race, which was really fun. Last year, I didn't race in 2014, which sounds odd to say. I meant to, and it just never quite happened. Didn't quite happen.
I mean, a lot of things have to take place in order to
it's not trivial.
Get you into something that major.
It's not trivial. It's not only a budget, but it's all the time and training and transport, building a bike, transporting a bike to wherever it is because it's not local.
Sure.
And going from there. So
awesome. So back to today.
Mm-hmm.
Ned Suesse, you're going to return to Cabo or the tip of Baja, La Paz, wherever it is.
I'm going to return to Cabo.
You buried your motorcycle, your 950 KTM.
Well, I broke
it. Creosote. Oh, you broke it. Well, that's probably that probably kind of solves itself. The bike's staying here. You're going home.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I got dirty gas, and I was trying to drain the carburetors in the middle of the night, and it's a real pain on a 950.
Yes.
And I managed to drop a screw, couldn't find it. It didn't go in the motor, but I just couldn't
went
find
away.
it. It went away. I threaded a longer screw, and I wound up breaking the carb bowl. And it was one of those like, well, we're done. I'm buying a plane ticket. So I'm going back with new carburetors, and I'll ride it home. So
that's awesome. So you'll go back home, and your next major adventure that you contacted us about over the weekend, tell us about that.
Yeah, so there's a World Championship of Rally. The FIM runs a World Championship, and they run a few events around the world. I think this year there's 6 or 7. And one of those events is a rally race in Sardinia. And so that's an island off the coast of Italy.
Yep.
This event really attracted me because a few reasons. First is it's the only one that doesn't include cars and quads and so on.
So it's just bikes.
It's bikes only. And it's really technical. It's really tight, gnarly, technical. It's almost like a navigation enduro.
Yeah.
So Coma's usually there. The
Sure.
Honda team is there.
Yeah,
all
the slackers.
The slackers, right.
Yeah.
You know. So, if I'm going to show them what's up. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, I have faith in you, Ned.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's set the bar high.
Yeah.
So, all those guys will be riding enduro bikes. They won't be riding rally bikes in this race. And so they'll ride an enduro bike, a little bigger gas tank, and just a road book on the handlebars, but not a full.
So typical stage, what kind of distance you run in?
I think they vary between 200 and 300 kilometers, something like that.
That's a real stage.
It's a real stage, but it's very slow and technical relative to most rally.
Right.
And so that seems like it'll be a lot of fun.
It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And who's back in with you from a sponsorship?
Yeah, so
perspective?
We worked with a wine company called If You CK Wine.
Oh, we know them.
We know all about If You CK. We worked with them in a way.
I've been trying to get sponsored by them.
Well, I mean, thanks to Ned, they just kept sending case after case after case.
So they're a really great company, and I think, what's going to be fun about this race is the best in the world to be there. And so we're going to compete with the best in the world. And, I already know I'm not going to win.
Sure.
But it's about the challenge. And I think that they really like what we're doing because they're about the challenge. They're a small company, and they're excited about making wine that's, a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And so this
Starting with the name.
And so they call it No Holds Barred wine. The wine is made just across the sea from Sardinia on the mainland of Italy.
Nice.
And so...
have you been to Sardinia before?
I haven't.
Nor have I, but I know guys like Franco Acerbis,
Mhm.
and he's had a home there for probably 30 years, and he's always talking about, Sardinia. And it's one of those places on the Bike Week Radio Show bucket list. At some point we will make it over there. Maybe it'll inspire us to do a live remote there.
I think you should do a broadcast from there. Why not, right?
International. I can even bring in some Italian radio personalities to help with the language barrier.
Put it on Glover's tab.
And what a tab.
Yeah.
Cool. So where are you in the process of having things, making arrangements, getting equipment, getting support for the Sardinia Rally?
About 3 days in.
3 days in. So you're ready to go
Just
tomorrow.
almost done, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so we're we've got to figure out what we're going to race and build bikes. I don't think that'll be too hard. I think we'll wind up racing KTM 450s. And then we got to figure out shipping, and we've got to figure out how we're going to accommodate the team over there and so on.
Any pre-running?
There's not.
No.
But unless you mean at the vineyard, because I do intend to do some pre-running at the winery.
As you should. You got to get acclimated.
That's right.
I think that's called pre-gaming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pre-gaming, yeah.
It's similar but different.
I like the term, though. Yeah. Good work, Bobby.
So we'll do some pre-gaming over there. But I think it's going to be kind of a funny deal because we need to figure out how to get the bikes there. And I'm racing with somebody, Scott Bright. He's been on
sure.
the ISDEs 4 times representing the U.S., so he's a really accomplished rider and a good friend of mine. And he's racing the Cortez Rally here in Mexico. That's in late April. So we have to start sending our bikes sometime after that rally finishes, and we need them to be there June 1st. So I think it's going to get interesting.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's always interesting.
Yeah.
If you set your compass setting and your road book to go do something, there's a high level of interest. And the guys from Climb probably going to help you out there?
Yeah, Climb will be involved.
Climb Clothing out of Rigby, Idaho. Fantastic brand. That's what I wear.
Yeah. Well, me too, and not for any reason other than I think it's the best. I think they've really done a really good job with it.
It's a premium brand. What other things might our listeners want to know about Ned Suesse?
Well, they would want to know that Double Take Mirror is also supporting this venture.
Double Take. Don't get me started on Double Take. My favorite mirrors. I'm your biggest evangelist.
Perfect.
Nick.
Thank you.
Ned owns Double Take Mirror, and it's the best thing for an adventure rider, for guys that do dual sport, off-road. And I'm sure you have a lot of guys that are just full-blown road guys. It's a great way to look at the action behind you, because you can adjust it. You can turn them down, like my 990. As soon as I go off-road, I poke those mirrors in. I don't have to remove them. Doesn't require any wrenches.
Nope.
It's got a big old nice knob on there, like a RAM mount.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are familiar with RAM mounts for GPSs and electronics. Yep. And your creation, your invention?
Yeah, I broke one of everything, and so I felt like I got to make something better. Exactly, more than one of quite a few. And so came up with that idea. I like to call it great hindsight. So
get it, Bobby? Rear view mirror, hindsight. Yeah, we'll probably put some sound effects in there.
Well, I got a question for you. We talked to Jimmy Lewis at Anaheim 1.
Yes, we did.
And he was saying he
knows Jimmy Lewis.
When he went over for Dakar, he got violently ill because he just wasn't used to the culture and the food and the water and everything. Did you have any experiences like that, having to acclimate yourself to the culture?
I have. I think this rally that's coming up is held at a 4-star resort in Italy. So I'm optimistic that I'm going to survive
all the wine drinking.
Yep. But no, I think Tunisia was actually a pretty tough go that way. I was there in 2013. The Arab Spring, of course, was 2012, 2013.
Right. Perfect time to travel in that part of the world.
It was really kind of exciting. And Tunisia has an interesting habit of adding tuna to everything.
Yeah.
And so you would order something that you would think, I'm going to have a salad, and it would be full of tuna fish.
Yeah.
And you'd think,
breakfast. A tuna omelet. We're having Belgian waffles.
With tuna.
Tuna. Or tono, as Italians call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Italy once, and they said, everybody is excited. We went to a restaurant, and they bring out this huge pizza, and it was like you had the wettest tuna for a sandwich, and it was all over the pizza. And I'm going, is this like, I know you guys are having fun with me because I'm the only American here. Is this sincere?
Yeah.
It was. Tuna.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Ned, man, thanks for stopping by here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And you and I know will be in contact as you prepare for Sardinia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're always happy to help you out. And, we like the rally thing. We like guys who are doing what we all wish we could do.
I think about rally that it's like real riding for most of us, where it's about an adventure, it's about an experience more than it's just only riding the bike, And for me, that's what's so fun about it is you go somewhere exotic and you meet interesting people and you see places that you'd never see any other way, and you eat pizza covered in tuna and all the stuff that's kind of high and lows. It brings them all out. So I really appreciate that.
It really does, and it's the whole the spirit of rally racing and that level of adventure. I've been blessed to have been able to participate in a rally and be around a lot of rally people for a long time. And it's something, unless you've experienced it yourself, you just can't fully appreciate it. But, we're excited to know you and always happy to have you on Bike Week Radio Show.
I'm glad to be here.
Somewhere maybe on your rally bike, you'll be able to have a sticker on there. And look who's joining us.
I see that.
Speaking about adventure, Broc Glover's here. Broc's nestling in here. We're scooting around this way.
I only was putting the headphones on to listen in because I've been watching you guys.
No, you're on the clock now, Brockster.
That's right. Just clocked in.
I've been spying on you guys, and I wanted to hear. Couldn't hear.
I want to be on.
So what bike are you riding, or did you guys already say that?
Well, tell them.
Yeah, no, I think we'll ride KTM 450 XCFs.
Okay.
We're both Scott and I have them and really enjoy them. And
Scott Bright, he's riding with Scott Bright.
Okay.
Yep, and we figured out it's not a whole lot of money to put a 6th gear in it. So I think I'm going to put another gear in the transmission and use that thing because I really like the linkage, and I think that bike works good.
Yeah. They make some good stuff.
Are you sure you want to put a 6th gear? That just means go really, really fast when you start grabbing that one.
Yeah.
It's not a good plan, but it is a plan.
Not a very well thought out plan, I think. Yeah, that's it. So.
We're all about modifying stuff. Perfect. Well, Ned, man, always a pleasure. Love having you come by. Thanks, pal.
All right.
Our thanks again to Ned Suesse. You can follow him on Twitter at NedEuro81. And up next, Bike Week Radio Show is on the road again this week. And we'll tell you where. Coming up next on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
The excitement of Supercross is coming to Petco Park February 7th. To make sure you don't miss any of the action, come to Toyota of Escondido's 12th annual Supercross kickoff event, Thursday, February 5th at 6 p.m. Meet world-class riders Davey Millsap, Dean Wilson, Jeremy Twitch Stenberg, and more. Plus, check out vendor displays from many of the biggest names in motorsports. It's all happening Thursday, February 5th at 6 p.m. at Toyota of Escondido's Giant Truck Center, where Highway 78 meets Broadway.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, the Mighty 1090. And a couple weeks ago, we were up at Anaheim, and we had a chance to sit down with Scott Burnworth. And Burner has an event coming up next Sunday, exactly 1 week from now, February 8th, the day after San Diego Supercross. It's Carlsbad MX Reunion number 3, third annual. And it all goes down at the Booze Brothers Brewery in Vista. And it starts at 12 o'clock, and people will be up there telling stories and having beer and telling stories and drinking more beer. And then you tell a few more stories, and you drink a few more beers. What could be better? And so, Carlsbad MX Reunion, third annual, that is next Sunday, February 8th, at the Booze Brothers Brewery. And so we also caught up with Scott Burnworth up at Anaheim a couple weeks ago. So here's our interview with the great Scott Burnworth.
So, Burner, how many times did you compete here in Anaheim Stadium?
I think probably 3 times.
Yeah? I remember one in particular. I
One
think
was
you
really
remember that
famous
one,
in
too.
86.
Yeah, the one.
I remember that one.
I remember that one, too. I was sitting in the
That's
stand.
the only one that anyone's ever remembered me at, the most famous race here
It was a
at
pretty
Anaheim.
dramatic
I ended
event.
up with my face in the dirt.
Yeah, and, the thing is, in the pits earlier that day, because we were doing work for then Hallman Racing, which is known as Thor today, and you had the new black market gear on. I think
Back
we were
in
the first
black.
guy to compete in it.
Yeah.
And you showed me did Troy paint that helmet? You said, look, check out my helmet. It made it a point. And I want to say, maybe I just invented this, but I want to say you better scratch that thing. Right?
And
You're
I
supposed
did.
to scratch a freshly painted helmet. But
He scratched it,
yeah,
all right.
Without taking the helmet off, he scratched it.
Right.
with some help, though.
I had a picture of that actual crash, and my face was halfway, like, in the dirt.
Oh.
And
Now,
was pretty harsh.
I'm sure you're tired of talking about that.
Yeah.
Right? But we're going to go ahead and do it anyway.
Yeah,
Because that's how we are.
We don't get tired of anything.
We don't get tired of hearing bad
This
stories.
this is like WW Groundhog Day.
So why don't you, for the people out there that maybe don't know, relive that for us?
Okay.
1986.
1986, Anaheim Supercross.
Main event.
I was doing real good that night. I won my heat race. I was feeling real good. And main event comes up. I think someone else actually got the whole shot, but right around the first corner, I passed them, and we were all kind of coming into that next corner, and I was going to square it off because there was like a quad, I think it was, or it was a quad or a triple, and Rick just came on the inside, just like
Rick Johnson,
so RJ,
used you
he
as
was going a little too fast to make the corner, and he kind of just hit my front wheel, and I, took a nose plant in the dirt.
All of a sudden, he was studying the geology of.
And I was a little bit
Anaheim
pissed
Stadium.
at the time, and I just kind of cruised around. I was about a lap down when I got up, and eventually those guys came around, and I'm like, hey, I might just like slow down a little bit. Nothing malicious or anything.
Right.
So I did it a little bit, but if you look at the tape, David was riding really good and everything, and I don't know, it would have been tight for both of them, but who knows what would have happened.
So
I just helped him out.
Did you hear about that later from Rick? Was he pissed?
I remember on the interview, he was kind of ticked off, I think, a little bit. And,
he was. I was holding the mic while they were shooting it.
But it's all good. We're all good with it now. It's a long time past, and it's kind of laugh about it now.
Well, you could also say that you weren't really thinking clearly because of the fact that he took you out so bad that you slammed your head on the ground, and then after that you kind of don't really remember what you did. And
they don't have the concussion protocol now. I just got up and went. With the full face.
Take your concussion like a man, I think, is what they used to tell you in the medical trailer.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
Burner,
go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead.
No, you
Burner,
go. You go.
I've had the pleasure of being at some events that you've raced in the last few years because you're involved with a group of active racers, and you're still. You're fast as hell, man.
Well,
I'm going to say faster than ever.
Well, you found your niche with that stuff, though, right?
God, I'll say.
Yeah, after I quit racing, I didn't race probably actually ride for another 8 years or something. I took like 8 years off, and then someone said, they had this. There was a local race at, I think it was Carlsbad, vintage race, and he had a CR 250. He's all come out and try it, So I tried this guy's bike and. It was a lot of fun, It's like low pressure, no one's slamming in you.
Just run around, make some laps.
Yeah, no gnarly jumps, no doubles or anything like that. So, it kind of started then. I bought I think it was a 76 CR 250, and I raced that for a while, fixed it up, and then eventually it wasn't the greatest,
But you were having fun.
Machine. Yeah, I have a good time.
So little by little, you got more and more involved and stayed with it.
Yeah, it's just a great group of people. It's, real mellow crowd and, just fun to go out there on all these different old bikes and see how fast you can go on these old bikes and see if you can keep them together.
But you have an amazing following. How big was that East-West event that you had? Was that last year or earlier? Yeah, I guess it was last year.
Oh,
now it's 2015. But you had a big event where you invited all these guys from
yeah,
Arizona?
it was
how many hundreds of guys showed up for that?
Well, that was at a race that I put on. It's the SoCal Vintage Classic. That was up at Glen Helen, and we had a Arizona versus California team race. And so they had a group. They brought their group over there, and we had our group from California, and you kind of go head-to-head. And we have all these different – it was really complicated on the rules because, you can't just go guy to guy because we had so many more guys out here compared to them. So I think it was actually by 1 point we kind of I think we tied. We kind of said, okay, we tie because there was a lot of different
home field
stuff
advantage. And you're at Broena Oaks,
No, the last race was at Glen Helen.
Glen Helen. But when you were at Brona Oaks, I mean, is that the first place you ever raced motocross at? I know you raced a lot there throughout your life.
Actually, I think Four Corners was the
Four Corners. Okay.
And then eventually Verona opened in, I think, 73, and that's when it was kind of a mini thing, and that's when we kind of went over.
So who are some of the names? Who are some of the guys that come out and race with you regularly that our audience might have heard of?
Now,
yeah.
Bill Silverthorne, Billy Urban. A lot of the guys don't ride. The big name guys, they don't want to ride anymore.
Ronnie Lachine.
Broc. Broc came out. And then every race they have a legend that they feature. So we get a different guy. We had Broc. We had Marty Smith. We had Billy Urban.
And not that Broc would let on, but these guys will back me up. He was pretty bumped about being that legend.
Yeah, we made a special jersey for him, replica jersey that he had, and
I saw him wearing it in the pits today.
Yeah, he doesn't take it off.
He's making a comeback.
Yeah, when you see him again, don't stare at the jersey, but he wears it every day.
No, it's just a good atmosphere, and a lot of people come out to see those guys, and it's just a lot of fun.
So now I know back after the racing career, you went to work. Well, when I started to work with you again was when you were at Jet Pilot, which was a watercraft wetsuit apparel company, and you were doing their art stuff at the time.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that you still do? Not with them, obviously, but with somebody else?
Yeah,
is that still your main job?
I'm still doing the same thing. I work for myself. I work out of my home, and I'm still doing the same exact stuff. And it's been good. I mean, I get to work at home, and I have to do the 9 to 5 thing.
And he's a great designer. I mean, I can, because I'm in the trade too.
Actually,
Burners are really capable, very artistic, very a great designer.
A funny story was when we started Jet Pilot, and it was right about when we started using computers
like
graphics.
Like the day after.
And we were redoing the Jet Pilot logo, and we went to Cox.
Right, came to my office
they had
in
all
Mission
these
Valley.
Computers and stuff, and we're like,
hey,
that looks
what if we did this?
Yeah.
Look at all these typefaces. What if we did this? Let's try that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And those guys, I haven't seen or heard of them. They went to Australia, right?
Well, no, Jet Pilot is still here also in the U.S., but it's also in I think it's still going in Japan and Australia too.
You still get checks for the logo or not?
No.
Those go right to Scott. Because he had the computer. He had Quicken, too.
Yeah. Well, I also had a way to plant the kernels in the file.
Was that a Corel draw?
Right. But, you've got an event coming up here, kind of coinciding with San Diego Supercross. Tell us about that one.
We do another thing called the Carlsbad MX Reunion, and it's just a fun reunion for people that
like
used
to drink
race
beer.
that. Yeah. It's actually beer, talk about motocross.
Beer.
And talk about Carlsbad and
more beer.
It's actually an ideal
how can you
event.
go wrong?
There's nothing wrong with that event. It's fun.
And you hold that in North County, right?
Yeah, it's in North County.
So where's it going to be this year? You've always had it at a nice brewery.
Yeah,
setting.
it's always at a brewery. It's at Booze Brothers Brewing in
They
Vista.
just come out and say it. They're not trying to paint it and be elegant. It's the Booze
really
Brothers.
cool place. So we're gonna have some bikes on display and
we'll be there.
Lots of beer and
lots of BS.
Cool.
Endless.
Yeah.
No, that's fun.
Scott, we appreciate you coming by.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate you inviting me on.
No problem.
Thanks, Burner.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks again to Scott Burnworth. And once again, that third annual Carlsbad MX Reunion next Sunday, February 8th at Booze Brothers Brewery in Vista. And that's not it. Bike Week Radio Show, yes, will be at San Diego Supercross coming to Petco Park. Extremely excited for that. So if you see us there, please come up and say hi. We'd love to talk to you. So we'll be there at that event. But also, if you can't wait that long, Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, Bike Week Radio Show is on the road at Toyota Escondido as they have their 12th annual Action Sports kickoff party as they get ready for San Diego Supercross. You'll have a chance to come meet and get autographs from Davey Millsaps, Dean Wilson, Billy Laninovich, just to name a few. So that is Thursday, February 5th from 6 to 8, Toyota of Escondido. And so come check us out. We'll be partnered with our good buddies, the Legends and Heroes. Once again, you get to see their rig. Hope to see you guys out at Toyota Escondido next Thursday. That'll do it for Bike Week Radio Show. If you missed any of the show, check out the podcast at bikeweekradioshow.com or download that brand new handy-dandy Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app. And you can take Bike Week with you anywhere you go. Thanks again, and go Seahawks. This has been Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
You've been listening to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Join us next week for more Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.